We'll find out what's going on. Speaking of interesting, what's going on with the Sugar Pine Mine situation? Is it a standoff yet? Any talk of the deadline being delayed? Good. We'll kick it around with Bad County's Dale Matthews. And we're also going to have Mike Jones on. They actually went to visit the mine yesterday. They were the first journalists to actually go and visit the mine, the first ones that went there. In Josephine County, there has been this brewing, I don't want to call it rebellion. I'm not exactly sure how you term this one. But it's the Sugar Pine Mine. And there's a conflict between the owners of the Sugar Pine Mine and the BLM about the surface rights. Dale Matthews and Mike Jones both join me from badcounty.com. How you doing this morning, Mike?
Good.
Good to have you back here. And Dale, good to have you back on. Good morning.
Hello, sir.
All right, so the two of you were the first journalists to actually journey to the Sugar Pine Mine, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's right. We went with escort. It's a different kind of journalism than writing a story from a press release. You know, you hold that press release paper up to the light and you try to examine it from different points of view of the rectangular piece of paper. This is a little different, and you actually go to the site of the news.
Okay. So,
Go figure.
All right, so you were escorted. Who ended up escorting you, or what individual or group?
We rode out there with the coordinator, Joseph Rice.
Mm-hmm.
And
from the Oath Keepers, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
They're providing security for the site.
So set the table with what is really going on there, because after having observed this from a distance, I'm still a little bit confused about this. There seems to be a difference of opinion of what the new owners of the Sugar Pine Mine actually have, and the BLM says basically you have until, Friday to remove this material from the mine, or else we're going to burn things down, right? Is that kind of the shorthand version here?
So far as I know that that's probably not going to happen because they're not moving towards doing that right now.
Okay.
This is a very serious security operation they have in place out there. It's very difficult, nearly vertical terrain through most of it.
So this is no place that people are just going to wander into the encampment, right?
Probably not.
All right. So
and you figure now, why would they need security? Well, one, it's a gold mine.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you say there's a gold mine here, there could be all kinds of people who, I think I'll just go over there. The other thing is, unfortunately for us, and we've heard this from multiple sources, the BLM has this tendency to give you a warning, then, I'm not making this up, burn down your cabin, and then give you your day in court.
And so what they're trying to do, and I'm speaking of the Oath Keepers, that are trying to make sure that nothing gets burned down, and we do a day in court first. Is that what I'm hearing?
Right. This is about the 5th and 14th Amendment. It's about the Due Process Clause. It's supposed to be a safeguard against arbitrary denial of life, liberty, and property by the government. Okay,
so Dale and Mike, what do you think are some of the, I don't want to know if I want to call them fallacies, but when the mainstream gets into this, I know Reuters has been going out there. We've had local television stations that have been popping out there. How has it been reported wrong, in your view, now that you have visited the site?
Well,
good question.
I do know that there have been false rumors. A couple of days ago, I was going through Yahoo News, and Yahoo News had a story up saying that the mine owner had said, we're calling the whole thing off. Everybody go home. Forget about this whole thing.
Oh,
and some sort of a counter operation. Somebody putting out disinformation, and so that's certainly one of the errors that have occurred in media.
Well, one of the things that we've seen is there's a difference in misinformation and disinformation. The story that was put out by the Medford Mail Tribune had mistakes in it, so that's misinformation.
Okay.
When someone says in a story that shots are fired, that's disinformation.
Did someone say shots were fired out there?
Yes, apparently there was some news story about shots were fired. Now, wait a minute. That's just completely made up. When Channel 12 put the picture of a SWAT vehicle, that's misinformation.
You had, in other words, trying to make it or make allusions to something that did not actually exist there. Right.
That's correct.
Okay.
Now, make no mistake, this is an armed camp. There are people there, they're camping, and they're armed. It's an armed camp. Now, whether the folks at Oath Keepers like that description or not, that's
Okay, so it is an armed encampment. Can you talk about how many people are there?
No, not really. And
one of the first things they said.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday, and as we were going out there, I said to Dale, this is a lot like that situation with Geraldo in Iraq when he started giving away troop positions and they yanked him out of there.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are not going to want us talking about, numbers of people and what their assets are.
Okay, so a question as far as journalistic integrity, though, is it are we getting the true story if we can't even know how many people are there?
Well, look, even when you're there, you're not going to see everybody. There are people that are wearing camouflage. You know how hard it is to see even a baby in their crib wearing camouflage. But still, when people...
Yeah, you're mocking me, aren't you?
You've been on our show.
Yes.
Would we ever do that?
Yeah, no, never at all.
Yes. So it's difficult to see everybody that's there, although you can hear the radio calls and the rest of that. It's enough people to keep the mine entrances safe, and that's really all that you need to know about that. What people should be asking is, what kind of attitude do they have? Are they twitchy? Are they foaming at the mouth?
Yeah, I mean, that's a reasonable question, and
Right.
That was kind of where I was going next. Is it everybody there? There's kind of like, all right, we're going to bring on Bundy Ranch Part 2.
Well, these are very serious people. There were some of these people that had no facial affect at all, and they were very, very serious about what they were doing. And,
Okay.
and that's whether they were just trying to send that message or whether that's what was really going on with them, hard to say. But it left an impression.
Okay. What about federal? What about federal presence, if any, near the mine? Is there any at all? What?
No.
None.
Yeah. No. These guys are not going to come anywhere close. I predict that what's going to happen is that they're going to make their next appearance in a court of law, which is the whole point of all of this.
Yes.
Okay.
It's when the federal government, I mean, all these laws were designed to protect us from the federal government. When the federal government can get away with it, we know that this is the case, that they've been involved with taking precipitous steps instead of going to the court of law first. Now they have no choice. They're going to have to do it in the proper procedure. That's the entire purpose of this. And whether it's made up of, I'd say about half the people there were humorless. Well, some of the people that call into your show are. And the other half of the people had a bit of a sense of humor, and that's a lot like your show as well.
All right, so this is not, though, they're not going out there playing Army.
No.
They're taking this very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't know, how do I phrase this? By the way, Dale Matthews and Mike Jones, who visited the Sugar Pine Mine, as part of badcounty.com's coverage of this. How do I put this?
You can just blurt it out.
All right, yeah. Well, I'm always politic, how I try to do this. Is there a danger to regular citizenry who may just go out and hike, running around? Because, they own rights to the mine, but they don't own rights to the land, if you know what I mean. It is public land.
I don't think so. I think they would be encountered, and if they're not, arriving there with deadly force in hand, I don't think that there's going to be an issue.
Okay.
They're not going to start firing on somebody who inadvertently goes down a road. By the way, there's a couple of locked gates, in between the main road.
So this is not a wander into the Sugar Pine Mine.
Well, not only that, and then there's that scenario is not going to happen.
All right.
Absolutely impossible, because to get there, it's such a long trip, and you have to go this way and go that way and down and up and over.
How long did it take you?
Probably
35 minutes.
Yeah, at least.
Okay, yeah. So this is not going to be a wander into potential danger then.
No, it's impossible to wander into this place.
Do they have? I'm speaking of the Oath Keepers who have provided security around Sugar Pine. Would you say then that they have a responsible chain of command? So,
seems that way.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
And they're checking every step of the way. I mean, even the coordinator of Oath Keepers has to call in the radio. There's 4 people in our car. Here's what the car looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a very strict protocol on all this because they are carrying around. They are armed, and they have the right to do that on their property.
On their property.
Right. And now one of the links that I sent to you, Bill, is the caretaker who was there when the BLM first showed up, and he's in his dwelling on the property, and suddenly he hears noises out there, and it's BLM guys buzzing around taking pictures, and they're supposed to tell you when they're coming. Yes, they can come on the property, but they're supposed to advise, and they promised they would, and suddenly they were there. Well, that's not going to be happening again.
All right. Have you spoken with the BLM folks?
No.
No?
No. They're apparently not talking with anybody, and we should probably make the secondary try to get hold of them again, especially since we've been there. But they've been kind of like the mine owners. The mine owners have been advised by their lawyers, don't talk with the BLM unless you have your lawyers present with you. Well, that's a good idea. Mm-hmm. And the BLM people have probably been told the same. Don't talk with anybody else. And you're going to have to go through a public information officer anyway, since it's the government. So
the deadline is Friday. This is supposedly the drop dead part to remove the cabin and other aspects on this mine property, right?
Yeah. Imagine that you're in your home or your apartment, and the government comes to you and they say, okay, listen, you're going to have a day in court. But before the day in court happens,
you got to pull everything out of here. Yeah.
Just think of your home. Mm-hmm. We want you to take everything out of your home, pull up the carpeting, everything out, and then go put that somewhere, we don't care where, and then come and visit us in the courtroom.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
And just to be clear, there has not been an adjudication of this. This has not gone to court up to this point. This has basically been the BLM saying, hey, according to our interpretation of the rules, the cabin and everything else has to go because it's a new ownership, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's right. And usually their next step is after you've gotten everything out of there, all your equipment and the mine and all the rest of that. Can you imagine how expensive that would be to start it up again if you win in court?
All right.
All out of there while we burn it down.
Well, we know about Miner Dave's experience, Miner Dave Everest. He's, talked about this quite often. And, of course, he's, been suing everybody, trying to work his lawsuit for a long time. So it would be interesting that you have to wonder if the Oath Keepers had been around taking care of Miner Dave or being able to do more of the same thing. He might have been in a different situation. So they're trying to make sure there are no more Miner Daves. Is that a good way of looking at this?
Get your day in court.
Okay. All right. So far, no violence. Everything's okay. But they are serious at Sugar Pine Mine, right?
Indeed. That's correct. It's a gold mine, yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. That is the takeaway right now. And coverage available on Bad County, as usual. We appreciate that. And stay in touch, my friends. Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you very much, Dale.
You're welcome, sir.